Pro Tour Kaladesh Gauntlet Blue-Red Zombies deck tech. Really fun deck. Welcome in, much love. Trav here with my guy Mitch Nasser.
What's up? How you doing?
Yo, go follow Mitch on
Instagram. Mitch Nasser, at Mitch Nasser.
We got a little film project going. And I want to show you guys this deck because it's so fun. Really enjoyed testing it. Very unlikely to play it at the Pro Tour, or very unlikely I played it at the Pro Tour. I am not necessarily telling you to go buy the cards. If you have the cards, build it. This deck is a net deck. Also, it was made by Raphael Levy's team at Pro Tour Kaladesh. So it's not really new, but I thought it would be a much better choice for this format because it's this deck raffle stomps the green decks. If you want to beat Verdurous Gearhulk, if you want to beat green midrange, if you want to beat Tireless Tracker, if you want to just crush 4C Saheeli, anyone green and dirtling, you will just raffle stomp them. It's okay against control decks, but that's the reason why I put it together when it looked like the metagame was going to be all black-green snakes. This would be the deck to win that tournament. If it's Jeskai control, more blue counters and stuff like that, and sweepers and combos, this is not as good, which is why I'm probably not going to play it. This deck is quite good. This deck was poor at the last at the last Pro Tour Kaladesh because it was all Marvel, it was all control, so not very good. But maybe a little bit better in this metagame. If you're at FNM and everyone's playing green, you want to just crush noobs, just wreck scrubs, then I highly recommend this. And it's really fun. So let's talk about how it works. It is a deck that can do nothing. You can miss your first land drop and discard. You never feel like you're out. You can come back from anything. The opponent can have unlimited creatures. They can have unlimited lands or many lands. They can have a bunch of big fatties. They can be at 20 life, you're at 1, and you just turn the game around. 3 turns later, they're dead. All their creatures are gone, or all their lands are tapped. And it's an awesome feeling because when I play Magic, I love the feeling that, hey, I'm way behind, but I can come back from this. I hate that feeling playing aggro right when the control player stabilizes, and you're like, this game's over. This deck doesn't really have that feeling. You always feel like, hey, I can come back. So let's start off with the payoff of how that happens, and then work backwards to the enabling. Elder Deep Fiend, Emerge 7. When you cast it, you tap up to 4 target permanents. So you combo this with Kozilek's Return. 2 damage to each creature when you cast it, or if you cast an Eldrazi with converted mana cost 7 or greater, you may exile it and you do 5 damage to each creature. So you can Deep Fiend, tap 4 lands or tap 4 creatures. Kozilek's Return, 5 damage to every creature. So you can wipe their board, you can tap all their lands, attack for 5, attack for 8, play another Deep Fiend, attack for 10, attack for 15. All their lands are tapped, all their creatures are gone. Really crazy payoff finish. Also, to set it up, you have Wretched Griff, which is a much worse Emerge, but it triggers Sanctum of Ugin. Sanctum of Ugin, when you cast one of these Eldrazi's, you get to sack the Sanctum and go grab another Eldrazi, which is pretty cool. So that lets you chain them. The first Deep Fiend gets the second Deep Fiend, and that's 5/15 by itself. Maybe you have a third Deep Fiend or you have another creature, and that's how you win. So let's back up to the enabling, how it all works. So it starts with the cards that you absolutely have to draw, and this is why the deck's a little bit fragile, it's a little bit do-nothing. You have to draw Stitchwing, Scab, or Advanced Stitchwing. Both of them let you discard 2 cards to return to the battlefield tapped. So they get around most counterspells. Disallow can stop it for a turn. You have to get these in your graveyard. I've tried drawing and discarding to start the game, even on the play. And since the deck can come back from anything, it's actually a pretty good line. If you have a perfect hand but no way to discard them, just draw up to 8. Even on the play, skip your first land. I've done that, come back in 1 in testing. We have Cathartic Reunion, pitch 2, draw 3. Tormenting Voice, pitch 1, draw 2. Lava Lightning Axe, which is a nice one to kill creature, break up creature combos, 5 damage, discard a card. So you start off with red-blue lands. Lightning Axe a creature. Tormenting Voice, start drawing some cards. Discard one of these. Emerge this back. Pitching Kozilek's Return. Maybe you pitch Fiery Temper, which is pretty sweet. Deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Madness. If you discard it, you can Madness it. Prized Amalgam. If you bring these back, this comes with it. whenever a creature enters the battlefield. It's a little bit tricky. You can do end of their turn, and you return one of these, and your amalgams will come in end of your turn, giving you time to Kozilek's return and still get the amalgam. You can do these during your opponent's upkeep to get around disallow a little bit. These come in end of that turn. You can do these end of their second main phase. It's a little bit tricky. And then at that point you have a Stitchwing, or maybe you have a Stitchwing and an amalgam, and you can get to your high end, tap their stuff, sweep the board, finish. Some of the really cool stuff about this deck is there's so many varieties of payoff that you don't necessarily need to do this. You can go turn 1, 5 damage to your thing, turn 2, bring back Stitchwing, bring back a couple amalgams, and just kill them quick that way. Maybe you bring back an amalgam and a temper, kill their thing, and just start tempoing them out. Or you can play control. You've got 4 burn spells, or here, here, and here, 11 in the main. And it all works out to be very, very synergistic deck that just crushes green decks. You have so much removal, so much time to come back. Again, you can be totally way behind with no creatures in play. All of a sudden, you have a Scab and an Amalgam. All the creatures are dead. You've got multiple 5/6s coming in, and all their lands are tapped. So it's super crazy. The issue is it is not so good against Jeskai control. It's okay. If you don't draw an Amalgam, it's hard to win. Possible to win, but if they negate your Cathartic Reunion, it feels fucking bad because you discard 2 cards. This is super dead versus the Saheeli combo, pretty dead. You have some burn spells to disrupt. It's not necessarily a great matchup. We do have Fevered Visions in the sideboard. You could main these, but they otherwise don't contribute to anything other than giving you more cards and giving aggro decks more cards, which you don't want, giving combo decks more cards, which you don't really want. They can just negate this and you fall way behind. If you want to main this, I would just say play a different deck that's good versus control instead. Some counters, I just don't feel like it was enough. Nahiri's Wrath is really sweet. Temper, some more Sanctum, Gryphs, and maybe a Sanctum. So that's basically the deck. Again, it's a net deck from some French players at the last Pro Tour. It turned out to be very poor at that Pro Tour because the metagame wasn't good for it. And that's a risk of getting too attached to your creations. If they just waited for this metagame, maybe it would be a little bit better. I don't think so. We'll see in post-mortem how it goes, but from everyone I've talked to, they think green decks are going to be maybe 20%, and it's going to be way more about the control decks. And the hyper aggro, this deck's okay against, but not so good. Like the Mardu vehicles, you do have some disruption, but you tend to be too slow setting things up. Your creatures come into play tapped, so you're not great at blocking. But it's such a fun deck. I wanted to highlight it. Again, I'm not shilling for WotC. I'm not saying, here's my link, go buy it. By the way, it's an affiliate link. No, but if you have the cards or you're looking for something unique and fun, try it out. If you're competitive and you want something that is going to win a green PPTQ or green FNM or something like that, sure, try it. But yeah, I mean, the metagame will shift and this deck will be good at times. So pay attention to those metagames and it will be good. If you enjoy this deck tech, give it a thumbs up. I've got a bunch in this series that are coming. All the decks in the Gauntlet that we're testing for the Pro Tour. Give you some behind the scenes. Again, go follow Mitch on where again?
At Mitch Nasser on Instagram.
Follow me on Instagram, Travis D. Woo. I pretty much just post nature pics.
That's what's up.
Not the most, that's part of my brand. Yeah. I like to go for walks.
I just post selfies with dogs and
Selfies
stuff.
with dogs. Dogs get a lot of likes. I don't have enough animals.
Dogs, cats, yeah.
If we had a dog here, we'd go viral for
money,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, we don't want the dog eating the cards, so smash that thumbs up button. Thank you all, and stay blessed up. Let me know what you think about this. Magic for good.